No, I would not say
54 years ago.
I would say it goes back into the earlier part of the 20th century. I would say the Balfour Declaration, which brings us to London, 1917. It's primarily, it has complicated roots, but it's primarily a 20th century struggle, and it is not a Muslim Christian or a Muslim Jewish struggle. It is primarily about land and memory and nationalism, but also it's about the will of two peoples. The Palestinians themselves have historically and even today been a multicultural, multi-religious people. There are many different sects of Christianity in the Palestinian territories. The Palestinians are not just Muslims, and Palestine is not just a Muslim issue. It is also an issue for Arab Christians. And because Israel was created by the UN, the Palestinian issue is in fact an issue that concerns the entire international community. So that's what I would say in response to that.
Okay, then, do you remember the movie where the ship came into something? I can't remember the name of the movie.
Yes, I know the movie you're talking about. All you have to do is say ship, and I know the movie you're speaking of. You're talking about the movie Exodus, are you not?
Yeah, okay, and that is, well, I don't, what I'm not quite getting about the Israeli-Palestinian thing is that that area, I mean, that land mass over there, Israel, and I don't know if there even is a Palestine anymore, but it's about approximately the size of Kansas, isn't it?
It's maybe even geographically smaller. It's smaller than Kansas.
Yeah. Well, okay, and so, I mean, are they fighting like Kansas would be fighting Oklahoma or something? I mean, the people in Kansas would be fighting people in Oklahoma, or what is the conflict between the people? I don't understand.
Yeah, I think I kind of agree with Nabil. I would say if we were going to use that metaphor, it would be Kansas and Kansas. First, Palestine is the name of the area on which the Palestinian people existed for thousands of years, and in which there was European Jewish migration throughout the 20th century. There were also indigenous Jews in Palestine, as there were indigenous Muslims and Christians in Palestine. And so it's not really till you get the idea of a Jewish state, a state that is actually exclusive in its ethnic definition, which is with the partition plan, the UN partition plan, and the creation of a state of Israel, that you get the kind of separation or segregation of people who really for hundreds of years had been on that land. It's really, you have to understand that the idea of setting up a Jewish homeland in Palestine is a very recent historical idea. It was supported in America by Christian Zionists decades before American Jews supported the idea. It was not universally supported in Europe, particularly among Western Europeans. It really becomes a cause, and it really takes off only after the Holocaust, when Jews, what's left of Europeans' Jewish population, is looking to escape Europe. And by the way, many of whom were turned down coming into the United States. So that's really when the idea of racial or ethnic or cultural exclusivity gets born in a region for which that simply was not the precedent.
Okay, well then, one last question. One last question. I'll let somebody else get on here. But are the Jews and the Palestinians, are they actually, I don't understand the ethnicity there, because there's like, are they like,
cousins?
I don't know how to say, interbred, or I mean, are there actually Jews that have Palestinian blood in them and vice versa, or what's the deal?
Yes, there are Arab Jews. There are Mizrahi Jews, there are Sephardim Jews, there are Arab Jews in Iraq, throughout the Middle East, because if you remember, at one point in time, the Islamic Empire stretched all the way into Europe, into southern Spain. That's where the Sephardim come from. So because of the Islamic Empire, you have many different kinds of Arab Jews. You have Jews who actually identify first and foremost as Arabs in places like Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Yemen.
Even Iran now.
Even Iran. And you have to understand that Israel is primarily not a product of the Arab world, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, no matter what sect. Israel is a product of Europe. It was European Jews, and primarily Eastern European and Russian Jews, who came up with the idea of a Jewish homeland for Palestine.
Was that after World War II?
It was
1898.
Yes, it was around the turn of the century, because, as you might know, in Eastern Europe, Russia, which are really the heart of Eastern Christian anti-Semitism, that historical anti-Semitism that existed for hundreds of years in Europe, that was really the heart of it. And so it was Eastern European Jews and Russian Jews who came up with the idea of a Jewish homeland. And the first people they actually had to persuade of this idea were Jews in Western Europe. If you read their literature, you can see them trying to persuade French Jews, and they know that French Jews are not going to go for this idea. So it's really, Zionism is really not a universal idea. It is very much a product of Eastern Europe and Russia, and it only later takes off and becomes an international idea, particularly after the Holocaust, when the number of Jews who then migrate out of Europe, they're primarily interested in getting out of Europe more than anything else, come then to Palestine.
Well, then what was Moses' trek into, leading,
TJ.
We have to cut this off.
Okay, I'm sorry, Nabil. That was my last question.
But I do have a lot of questions, a lot of callers. Call us back.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
OJ.
Yeah, first of all, I would like to thank you for being on the radio tonight.
Hey, OJ, could you please turn down the volume?
Okay,
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
That you tell the truth in all lightness and all glory and respect to Allah. Number one in America, like your guest that just come off the radio and your guest there with you. The first thing she did was identify herself as a white Christian. One thing about Islam and the Muslim world, they never have to identify themselves as I'm a Muslim Arab, or I'm a Muslim this. They know who they are.
That's true.
As long as in America that those people that here have this inferiority complex that they are not somebody unless they exhort the word white. There's always going to be racism. Number one, Elijah Muhammad, he said that anybody that could disprove him, he would pay $1 million, that those people that live in Israel are not the true Jews, because like the doctor just said, that they come from out of Russia, they come from France, and say, hey, let's make this Jerusalem. So I would like for you to talk about the realness of this issue, because it's for real. I mean, like the play acting and the plays that's going on over there, that's not it.
From Muhammad.
You said yourself, sir, that the issue was the United States' policy against the Palestinian people are wrong. until the world realizes that, until the people cry out for righteousness, bow down on their knees and pray that the Americans will stop Israel from killing those children, those women over there. Those groups that goes over there in little patches as freedom workers and all of that, that's fine. As big as this country is, all they have to do is say, Israel, stop it.
Okay, OJ, I got it. I appreciate it so much. Dr. Gordon is going to talk. Thank you.
First of all,